like, how did I get into doing this?
Yes, correct.
I mean, I went on this guy. There's a guy named Danny. I was in the halfway house, and I was thinking about doing I'd written all these. This fucking guy. We're still doing this. So I was in the halfway house. When I was in prison, I'd written a bunch of true crime stories. Like the other guys in prison, I'd written stories. Like you would hear somebody's story. I would hear somebody's story, and so like I'd talk to him. I'd be like, "Holy shit, that's a good story," and then I would end up writing. Like I'd write a book.
Oh, nice.
So I wrote this guy's book, wrote this book, wrote this book. Like I wrote a bunch of books. So, and I got some guys in Rolling Stone magazine. I did a bunch of stuff. Sold or optioned, was optioning stories and like for movies and stuff while I was incarcerated. So when I got out and I was in the halfway house, I was like, what I wanted to do was, I knew podcasts were a thing. I didn't know what a podcast was. I'd never heard of a podcast. Like when I went into prison, there were no iPhones. You know what I'm saying? I had a flip phone. I had the Razor. Remember the Motorola Razor?
Oh yeah.
That was like the cool phone. Like
I
had a Razor.
remember that.
So I mean, there's no, and YouTube had just kind of come out before I went out, but I don't think I know that I'd ever been on it. So, but while I was writing these guys' stories, guys are coming up to me going, because I'm writing different stories. Some of them are just short stories. They're like synopses of the entire story, and some of the stories are full-length books. And I'm getting guys in magazines. I'm doing stuff. So guys are coming to me towards the end of my sentences. Guys started coming to me saying, "Listen, bro, you ought to do a true crime podcast." And I'm like, "Well, what's that?" And they were like, "It's a podcast." And I was like, "What's a podcast?"
Yeah.
Bro. They're like, "Oh yeah, that's right, bro. Like you've been locked up a long time." It's like sad. It's sad. If they want to, they're like,
it's like, oh,
they want to hug you, like, "Oh, you're kind of an idiot. You don't really know." Exactly. You don't know what's going on, do you? So they were like, "Yeah, listen, it's like a radio show, but it's like every week they do like a 1 hour radio show, and so you tell a story." I go, "So you tell a story every hour?" And they're like, "No, you might tell a story over 3 episodes or 3 weeks, or it might be 12 weeks, or it might be one every week. It depends. It depends on whatever you want to do." And I'm like, "Well, where do these get run?" And then they're explaining. So guys started bringing me, newspaper articles. And everything I read was like true crime was huge. And they're like, "You love true crime." And I'm like, I didn't know it. I knew what true crime books were.
Right.
But the genre of true crime podcast, I didn't really know. So they were like, "You need to get out and do this." And I was like, I don't even know how to do that. Like, bro, I think I'm going to be working at McDonald's. Like, that's serious.
Really? Your fucking self-esteem was that low from black?
Listen, I went from here down to here.
All the way down.
But I was, I had gotten myself to that point, and I think that's the right way to leave, because I know guys that get out and they're like, "Well, I'm telling them, go work at FedEx, go work, go work at McDonald's, go work." They're like, "Man, I ain't taking a job at McDonald's." "Oh, really?" "No, man, I won't do that. I ain't gonna work at McDonald's." Why? So what you're gonna do is you're gonna ask your friends and family to send you money. Like, well, that'd be rock bottom. Rock bottom, bro. You live in a rooming house and other people are paying your bills. You're past rock bottom. And you're saying you're too prideful to work at McDonald's?
Yeah.
Working at McDonald's, paying your own bills is a step up for you. Your friends from 20 years ago are paying your bills. It's pathetic. Get your shit together. Get humble. So, and I have those conversations to this day with people. So, and people are nuts. Anyway, the point is that they were like, I didn't know what that was. So when I got to the halfway house, I was going to my first job. I got lucky, bro. I got so lucky. Like I called up a friend of mine and I said, "Hey, bro, what's going on?" He's like, "Bro, I can't believe you're out. Oh my gosh." And he said, "Can I do anything for you?" I said, "Man, I need a job." Like the first phone call I made. And he goes, "I can hire you. I mean, I can pay you minimum wage, but I'll run interference for you. Like you can come here and I'll pay you. And if you have to go do something, you can go do it. Like I'll answer the phone and tell them you're here and that sort of thing. Right. And I was like, "Yeah, that's cool. I appreciate it. I said, I don't have a car though. He's like, that's fine. I'll pick you up every day. He's like,
awesome.
Awesome, right?
Yep.
That changes quick. Like after like a week, they're like, yeah, bro, you're gonna have to figure out how to get here by yourself. That right away. Like they're already
can't hold your hands forever, bro.
Right. So this guy starts going, but the first day I got in his truck, there was a podcast called Concrete.
Yeah.
With a K.
Oh, I heard that. Yeah, I saw it on YouTube. Yeah, Concrete Podcast.
So my buddy who's driving the truck, he goes, oh man, you ought to call this guy. And I went, why? And he goes, well, he talks to real estate people. And I went, he doesn't want to talk to me. I mean,
you're the real estate guy.
Yeah. I was like, he doesn't want to talk to me. I just got out of prison for real estate, for fraud. Like he's talking to legitimate people. He doesn't want to talk to me. He's like, well, you ought to call him anyway. Like he might want to talk to you. He's like, they talk to lots of criminals. And I was like, why? Like I didn't know what YouTube was. I didn't know what podcasts were. I didn't know what iTunes. I didn't know what Spotify, and I didn't know what that was.
Right.
I had just gotten I had just gotten a cell phone, which I couldn't even figure out how to work. And I certainly hadn't pulled up YouTube. I didn't know how to do anything. And the point is that he convinced me to write this guy that runs Concrete an email. Guy's name's Danny. Yeah. So I get his email. I write him an email. He calls me and says, hey, this is Danny from, I read your email. Great email. He said, I looked you up. I looked up your case. I would love to have you on the podcast to tell your story. And I was thinking, well, I can't now. I'm in the halfway house. And he goes, okay, well, when you get out of the halfway house. And I had like 6 months. Mm-hmm. So he goes, yeah, when you get out. I was like, okay. I said, well, hey, I got a question. Like, how does this work? So, man, I kept Danny on the phone. One time for like 30 minutes, another time for like an hour, another time for
information.
I talked to him it's like twice a month,
right?
For the next 6 months, asking questions. But then I get out of the halfway house, and I'd been out a few months, and he kept asking me, when are you going to come on the podcast? When are you going to come? So probably a few months went by, and then one day he called me and said, bro, you've been saying you're going to come on. And I've answered all your questions. You should have heard him. He was like, all your questions. Come on, bro. I just had a guest drop out. I need to put something up. You need to come. I was like, all right, I'll come. So I went there. I did that podcast.
Yes.
And it ended up getting like 1.5 or 1.6 million hits. And it did great. But Danny answered a ton of my questions. And he was explaining to me how the pay scale works. Mm-hmm. But his biggest thing was like, look, you're going to have to work for a year or two to have this thing make money. Mm-hmm. And, and I messed up because he told me, start doing a podcast now. But of course, I didn't have any money. Mm-hmm. I didn't know I had no cameras, no money, no setup, no nothing. And he's like, he kept saying, doesn't matter. Take your selfies. You got a cell phone with a camera? Yeah. Sit in your car and do a podcast and post it. I just didn't know what that meant. He would talk to me. He still talks to me like this, like, oh, put it up on such and such. It's like, okay, one, I don't know what that is. I don't know how to put it up. I don't know what put it up means. Mm-hmm. I don't know. So over the course of a year of him badgering me, I finally started posting stuff very slowly. And then, I got to the point where I finally, and keep in mind, I'm living in someone's spare room. So people are like, why don't you do it in your spare room? So you need to interview people. Where? In my spare room? We sit on my bed and I interview guys? Like, what is that? Like, I'm going to say, hey, can you come over and sit on my bed with me? Like, that's a little homo,
right.
But it's a little game.
Like awkward.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. And I don't have the cameras, and I don't have the equipment, and I don't have the sound equipment, and I don't know how to edit anything. I mean, Final Cut Pro's $1,000. You know what I'm saying? Like, these cameras are not cheap.
Yeah.
I don't have $800 for this camera or for 3 cameras, and I don't have, and these things are expensive, and everything about it's expensive.
Bro, he's got out of prison. You don't have shit.
Exactly. And people don't realize that.
Right.
They're like, well, that's just $1,000.
Sure.
Coming from someone who has $1,000, that doesn't seem like a lot. Mm-hmm. But since I'm starting from scratch,
Zero.
I told you, $300 in bought. The first week I was locked up in the halfway house, spent $300 at Walmart for all the clothes I had. Mm-hmm. People don't realize, like, everything I have nothing. When they go, oh, you have nothing, they still immediately, they can't separate themselves from their wardrobe or from, you don't seem to understand, if I need to put on a new pair of socks, I have to go buy socks. If I need to use dental floss, I have to go buy dental floss.
Yeah.
I have to go, and I don't have anybody I can ask. Like nobody, like I said, when I got out, and we talked about this, like nobody came to me and said, hey, here's $3,000 to get started.
Correct.
Here's $1,000.
Correct.
Here's $500. Like nobody
Correct.
said, here's $50. Not one person. It was all from me writing stories in prison, writing books. I got an advance from Skyhorse Publishing when I got a publishing deal. I optioned a story, got that money, and then when I got out, I hit the treasure hunter. What's it called? The state of Florida treasurehunter.com or .gov.
Yeah, it's like the unclaimed funds.
Yeah, the unclaimed funds. I hit that. I happened to have a couple $1,000s there too. So I'm like, all the money I had was all money that I had, and that's how I ended up getting lucky enough to get enough money to get a vehicle that immediately broke down. $700 there, 200 here,
shit.
900 here. I mean, it just kept hitting me. But I'm saying that whole thing, like that. So it's like over the course of a year or so to a year and a half, I started or about a year or so, I started figuring out what is the strategy to try and monetize what I enjoy doing. Like, how do I turn this? How do I make money off of being me? You know, without doing things like selling a real estate course, because I don't feel comfortable teaching a real estate course and selling that course.
Okay.
You know,
I know you mastered the real estate thing, but now you're picking on a new thing that everything you learn from real estate, it's like that's history. But how you get what I'm saying, bro? How do you feel like? I feel like you're a master, really. You know, like the real estate game, like you're a master, every fucking thing about it. But how did you just stop that? You don't want to teach real estate, nothing real estate, and just opt on that.
Okay. Well, here's the problem. My judgment commitment, right? You know what a judgment commitment is. Like when you get out, the stipulations to be released. Were you on supervised release?
No, sir.
You had no supervision.
No, I
Probation.
got 5 years. I got 5 years.
Okay, you got probation.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
supervised release.
Yeah.
That's what they call it,
Yeah.
probation. A lot of guys call it probation. So did you have certain things like you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't
Yeah.
For me, I can't work in real estate. I can't work in development. I can't work in construction.
No shit.
I can't work in finance.
No shit.
I can't. So how am I going to now teach a real estate course and sell the course? That would be considered, even if I'm not working there, they would consider it consulting. I'm not.
What do we consult?
I'm not allowed to consult. I cannot consult in real estate. I can't work in real estate or consult. I can't this or everything is or consult, because guys get around it. They go, well, I don't work for that real estate company. I'm just consulting. Stop it, bro. Like the judge isn't stupid. He's not going to, I can't do any of those things. So I don't know. I could teach a real estate course and sell the course, but I think it'd be skating the line. And the truth is, I don't know that I feel comfortable doing that right now. I just don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I feel like it's stepping over the line. The truth is, I don't want to work in real estate because this is what I want to do. And so I like doing this. And I'm building a channel, and the channel is going to grow, and it's going to make a little bit more money and a little bit and a little bit. It's slowly climbing, and I enjoy it. I like talking to other guys that have been through similar situations, and I understand what you've been through.
Correct.
You know, I know a lot of guys that get out and like they never talk about it, ever. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to tell anybody about it. They hide it. When things come up, they don't say it. Like their friends and their girlfriends like don't want them to talk. Don't like I mean like dating a chick that knows what's happened, but that same girl might end up being like, don't tell my family. Don't tell like. So a lot of these guys, they get shut down and they never get to talk about it. I like talking about it. I enjoy talking. It makes me feel better to talk about it.
Get out of your system.
Right. You get out of your system. It feels like a release. It's a relief. You kind of feel better going through it.
Yeah.
I think so. Talking it out and why did this happen? Why did that happen? And so I enjoy that. I like writing the stories. I like going over stories. I'm actually supposed to be doing a true crime podcast starting in a few weeks from now, where I go over some of the stories that I talk, because I wrote like 20 something stories. I wrote some books, some are just stories, and I'm going to start going over those stories on this true crime podcast. Plus, I'm getting stories turned into documentaries and into series. So I'm working on that. Like, none of it's paid off yet, but it's all things that I'm working on, and I enjoy working on it. So that's what I like to do. You know, that, and I paint, and you know, so it's not that I figured it out when I was in prison. It's just been an evolution of learning little bits and pieces. It's like it's the same thing with the gloves. You probably didn't have that idea laying in your bunk. You probably didn't think that was what you were going to do, but you got out, you started working construction, you started realizing it's an evolution, and before you knew it, you thought, hey, this would be cool. Like, I need this. Why hasn't that been done? It hasn't been done because nobody's taking the time to do it. I'll take the time to do it.
But you're a bossy, though. At least you, you know, some guys admit to it and some guys just hide it. Like, you know, like you're right. I respect that a lot. You know, like the other guys that fucking hide it. I used to hide it until, you know.
No, I'm not hiding.
Awesome.
I'm not.
Yeah.
No, it's not worth hiding the things that I've been, that I've been through. Look, you know, I've said this many, many times. You know, there's two kinds of people. There are those people that are 100% acceptant of the things that I've done and the person that I am, and there are those people that can go fuck themselves. There's only
awesome,
two people.
bro.
I used to say this too. There's two kinds of people.
Yeah.
Those people that will send me money when I'm in prison, and those people that won't.
Correct.
And you know, and that's a simplistic way of saying same thing. You know, and that people might think that's, well, that doesn't sound right. It does sound right, because if I'm in prison and you send me $10 or $20 or $5, it's not the $10.
Yeah.
It means that you didn't forget about me. It's like your buddy coming to see you.
Yep.
He'll never fucking know.
I never expect it.
He'll never know what that meant.
I never expect that from him, especially from him. Like, it's, you know.
But the people that you think should come see you never came to see you.
Ain't that fucked up?
That's fucked up. Like, I'm ready to cut those fuckers' throats. We're done.
Yeah.
But the people, it's always that person. You know what I'm saying? That's what's fucked up. And people don't know. They'll never know what that felt like. All right. So if you like the video, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, share the video, leave a comment for the algorithm, and see you.